Hello and welcome to Juan's Awesome Sauce, a show all about the Olympia League. I'm Juan and I'll be your host. Well, welcome to the beginning of week 2, but before we talk about week 2 and my picks, let's look back at week 1. What stood out? The first thing that stood out to me was this. There are a lot of teams that were a little rusty to say the least, and that made for some really crazy scores, which leads me to my next observation, which is this. Projections mean nothing. We already knew this, but most of us were projected for 130 plus points, and most of our teams did not get there. Mine did though, haha. Anyway, moving back to my takeaways for the week. The next thing I want to talk about are our peak performer and our peak underperformer. Let's see, our peak performer of the week, while I did have the highest score for the week, I don't think I was a peak performer. I think that's gotta go to Issa and her team, because she just did a wonderful job of beating up O.J. Simpson's glove. Congrats to our peak performer. And if we have a peak performer, we also have to have a peak underperformer. Not unsurprisingly, that dubious honor this week goes to our commissioner, Al June. Don't worry, Al June. I'm sure all of us will be there at some point. Someone has to be the first one. Your Washington mini stack just really underperformed. Well, all right, let's get to week 2 and let's get to our matchups. Let's see what we've got. We're going to start with my matchup as always. And with this matchup, I sort of flip-flopped because I feel like Patrick Mahomes and the rest of Casey are going to have a great game. And Philippine Dream has him and Kelsey. With that said, I feel like our games will be close, and I think my team will do well enough to beat Philippine Dream. So I'm going to pick myself for the first matchup. Moving on, we have Chicharron Chain Crew versus Bob's Balut Boys. This is a tough one because Chicharron Chain Crew's got Joe Burrow and he can go off, but at the same time, he's already projected for 22 points. On the other side of the equation, Bob's Balut Boy has a mini stack of C. Stroud and Nico Collins, and while I don't trust Houston, they're also against Tampa Bay, who has a horrible pass defense, and their projections might be low. I think I'm going with Bob's Balut Boys for the win. Moving on. We have Olympia Queen versus Calamansi Crusader. Calamansi Crusader, our peak performer of week 1. Can she keep going into week 2? This is another one that's hard for me. I was looking at who they're gonna play, and to be honest, it's really hard to not pick Calamansi Crusaders. But I'm going to go against the grain, I think, and I'm going to go with Olympia Queen. I feel like even though Josh Allen is already projected for 20 points, he could easily do way better. Anyway, let's move on. We have next Bicol Express versus Filipino. Ricky, man, I love your team, but I also love Filipino. I feel like Jake the Snake has a really solid team, and I think he's going to pull it out. I have to go with Jake. All right, well, who do we have next? This is for you, Al June. Daquan. I don't like it. I just want to tell you. I know it's the proper way, but I just like saying Daquan. But anyway, Daquan versus O.J. Simpson's Glove Store. Let's see what we got. This is another tough matchup for me. I feel like it's anyone's game. It's a toss-up. And I'm going to go with Daquan, or as I like to say, Daquan. Why? Because I don't know why. I just am. Oh, actually, I know why. Dallas defense might get like 38 points against the New York Giants. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, our last matchup is Halo Halo Hello versus San Miguel Beer, Itoang Beer. I do believe the Washington stack is going to do well this week, but I don't know if he's going to play that stack. With that said, they're also playing a stingy Green Bay defense who has just, wow, 2 monster pass rushers. I think I have to go with my bro, Halo Halo Hello. I think Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are going to literally feast on the New York Giants defense. I don't see that going well. And while Zay Flowers will probably not get 1,046,859 points this week, I think he will do well because he's just that kind of a guy. So yes, Halo Halo Hello for the win. Lastly, I want to talk about my record from week 1. It wasn't good. I went 3-3, or 50%, and that's sort of horrible. I mean, it could have been worse, but I guess the final takeaway from week 1 is I am horrible at making picks. Let's see if I do any better this week, and good luck to all of you. Have a good weekend.